Good morning. I am higher vibrations and so are you. And boy, oh boy, are we in the middle of a crazy week of energy. All kinds of stuff going on. Um, in about like 2 hours, the energy of the 222 portals starts to really set foot or take hold. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm already feeling it. Um, all kinds of crazy stuff going on right now. And as a result of this, many of us are feeling all kinds of funky stuff. So I just want to let you know you're not alone. Um, anyway, we'll get into more of that during our wonderful conversation today. I have the lovely guardian. I shouldn't have said lovely, but
No,
my
thank you very
brother.
much.
What was that?
Thank you very much.
Well, I just do. I love you. He's like Guardian here. For those of you who don't know Guardian, Guardian's like a brother to me. I've known Guardian for quite some time, and we've had a really amazing journey together in this awakening, and have helped each other back and forth over the years, and it's just been this bond that I've just always cherished. And so when Guardian's going to come on the show, I get really excited. So welcome, Guardian. You're coming in from Transylvania, isn't that right?
Yeah, I'm sending you all much love from Transylvania. I'm in Eastern Europe and it's 9 p.m. around here. So, sending lots of love to lovely people in Europe and the darker parts of the world right now. But yeah, it's great to be here. And like, I think like we've been in contact and like speaking not every day, but quite a lot since 2020, I believe, or like
That's
the end
right.
of 2020. Yeah. And it has been a very transformational relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to have that in my life.
Well, thank you. So,
Especially because like I think like both of us had like I mean all everyone's experiences are unique, but I think like most of ours are like connected very much so, and we also had like a lot of experiences that many people don't really talk about in the spiritual community, and like that's kind of resonated and like clicked with both of us.
yeah, it's so nice to find someone who talks about things that you're going through that others aren't talking about. And so if you can find that's a bond and a beautiful r- relationship that you can have. Not all relationships are romantic, for anyone who's wondering. So, like just because I use that word. Um but yeah, it's been wonderful, and I'm so blessed and honored to have you to share this awakening journey with you, Guardian. So thank you for joining today.
Yeah, and with everyone else as well. Like I think also this is true for you as well. Like I hesitated to like go public with my weird stuff.
Yeah.
And like in 2020 when the lockdowns happened, like my guides were like pushing me to like, you have to start your YouTube channel. You have to do it. You have to do it. And I was like, no, I don't want to talk publicly about these stuff. But yeah, it has been the best freaking thing that I've probably did in my life. I mean, there were other things that are also important, like family and stuff, but in general, it was like a huge moment and like one of the best things that I ever decided to do. Even though it's very scary to like, I haven't talked about these stuff with my friends or family. Like the only person that knew was my mom and my wife. And when to everyone else, it was like a secret. Like, what kind of hobbies do I have in my free time? And so I'm not telling anyone. So I decided I'm going to tell everyone on the world and go public with
Right.
it. Yeah, it was a great decision because like we connected with so many people and like and with not with everyone and directly. Like we had video calls and all that, but just the simple fact that like people are writing in like nice comments and like sharing what they're going through or sharing their experiences regarding the things that we share online, like I don't know, like a meditation or a light language or you name it. And, like it had like a profound impact on them. And that's like a huge. It's like an amazing experience for us as well to have that. I don't say like the best ways to like validation. I wouldn't say like validation, but it's like a reward. Like people are appreciating and it's benefiting people's life. And it's superb. So I'm very happy to do that.
Yeah. And validation is a good word too for that. I think that people put to, validation down a little bit or don't understand how powerful it really is. I mean, yeah, we can lean on validation a little bit too much and it can become a crutch, though at first, especially, I still like Guardian and I had a really brief conversation before we went live for the same purpose to just like check in or am I the only one feeling crazy right now with this kind of thing that's going on? And it
Yeah.
gives you the ability to trust yourself too when you get validated, when you can find validation. You're not crazy, you're not alone, and other people are going through similar stuff that you are.
Yeah, like Barbara shared something really cool. Like, yes, absolutely. This has been a lifesaver in the biggest way because no one around me talks about these stuff, and it makes you feel so alone. I'm so thankful for all of you, and thank you very much. And yeah, like I also felt the same way before. Like, I felt so isolated because, like, I was having all these amazing experiences, and I didn't have anyone to talk about it. So
Right,
it was like I was like living in a separate world,
right.
almost like in a parallel dimension compared to everyone else. And when I opened up about it, like I received a lot of positive feedback and like people writing back like, "Oh my God, like that's the most important thing that I heard in 2 years," or it changed how I see myself or the world, or I don't know. Like
Yeah.
especially like it's very interesting that, for example, like hey, it's 9/11. It's like for
Wait,
us maybe,
111.
yeah, for us maybe I don't know, like I have like I had amazing experiences and like seen stuff and experienced them, but to me that's kind of normal because that's kind of part of who I am and my reality. But maybe that normality to me, it's something very special to someone else, and it can benefit them in a very
Yeah,
meaningful way that I couldn't even imagine probably. So it's
exactly.
also a very important aspect that I learned to appreciate.
100%. That's actually why we do this show here on Wednesday is for that purpose. Is that these conversations that I have are to me because they've become normal. They've become because of I do sessions and I have groups and stuff. And so this is kind of for the most part the kinds of things we talk about in my world, like across the
Mhm.
board. And I forget how sometimes, apart from the fact, and it's fitting that it's you as my guest today, Guardian, because um, when I need to remember what it was like pulling out of that dark night of the soul and being completely alone and not having anyone, literally anyone, who understood or relate to what it is that I was going through. Guardian here had a live that he did every Monday, and in that live there was, you know the, the main handful of us that would meet in the chat and have conversation, was my lifeline. Communicating with Guardian live, having those chats, that was literally my lifeline. I wouldn't do anything on Monday was like, nobody can schedule anything on that day because I'm busy. And like when Guardian was sick, I would be so sad because my weekly fix wasn't available of that community, you know. Um, and as for over a year, Archangel Michael had been strongly encouraging me to start my own YouTube channel. Um, it had been going on for about 6 months before I found Guardian's channel. And in a lot of ways, you, Guardian, have been like the example of what to do. In fact, as there's some times there that Guardian was sending me like links and stuff to figure out how to do what I'm doing. Like I
Mhm.
didn't. I was like, I don't want to be on TV. But and so that's actually why I don't click when I see there's an at in the chat. I won't click those comments and put them on the screen. Like this one, I will. Oh wait, he says it's somebody else, but but it's still like yeah, I won't put on the private chat because there's a chat going on that you all can connect to each other, and it's for you, you know. So I actually clicked this as an example, and then I realized that it says someone's name in the chat, in the comment, and it was an accident. But I do wanted to grab something really fast for you, for everybody, because there's a question in the comments. Where did it go? It was from Vegan Vixen asking about, here it is. Anyone shivery then hot, so hot and cold flashes basically. And I have been having this, though I kind of thought that it was because we're having this crazy weather here. This is unheard of. It's 16 degrees Fahrenheit here right now. That's like, I don't know, like 9 below zero in Celsius, I think.
Mhm.
And it's going to be 50 degrees hotter in a week, and it was 50 degrees hotter a week ago. Like, we're actually near to breaking a record here. So I thought that was just because the weather changed so dramatically, but I am having the same.
Same thing too.
Are you?
Like here, it's like up and down. Like you don't know why you're feeling so drained, or it's not easy. Changing the temperature all the time, and we had the same thing during the summer too last year. So
Interesting. Yeah. There's something else I wanted to bring up. Along this same line. Um I've noticed more than any other time, there's a higher frequency of people who are experiencing something similar to a dark night of the soul, you know, and I was wondering, do you want to go into that topic and kind of talk about what that is and what can people can do to help themselves in the dark night of the soul, or is that
maybe you should address it first,
okay?
and maybe I will add something.
Okay, so
Cherry on top if necessary.
um, to make it as brief as possible, dark night of the soul is a term or a phrase that, in my opinion, is not correct. Like, they shouldn't use that term. That those words don't really take the essence of it. It's truly a light being shown on the soul, for it's a time of rebirth and re-understanding of who you truly are. As a result, you begin to drop off those things that aren't actually yourself, and then begin to reintegrate things that are no longer or had been intentionally um, uh, removed from who you are. They call it the dark night of the soul because Freud termed the shadow self, the aspects that we, throughout an earlier life and also through adulthood, receive critiques from teachers, friends, peers, uh, parents, and so on. And those critiques make us feel like that part of our character is unsavory or unloved, unlovable. And so we kind of um, uh, prune those aspects off and hide them away. And then over time, we end up having a whole bunch of different things that are still us. We are still, the most common one you'll hear is people not crying. They've been told that that's weak, or you're being a sissy, or whatever unkind thing was said about it. And then the individual will force themselves to be somebody different. And then at some point, usually during the one of the parts of awakening, and we can have many of these, we will get into the part where they call it the dark night of the soul. These aspects begin to be reintegrated into who we are. We're becoming a whole person once again. um, some people mistake this for the ego, when it's actually the shadow self. And the most effective approach I have discovered for this is to do shadow work. There's a lot of different YouTube um, uh, guided meditations, and also healers and different people who will do this with you one-on-one as well, moving into and connecting with your shadow self, also known as the inner child. You know, so But there's a lot of characteristics that go into what it is to go through a dark night of the soul. And that's kind of what I wanted to go into. That's the background. And I was kind of thinking maybe we can talk about, like, what was it like for you, Guardian, if you want to share it, to be in a dark night of the soul? What was the experience like?
In which part of my life?
How
At the
many did you
beginning,
have, right? Yeah.
at the beginning of the journey, yeah, yeah. Like also, just want to mention like Mariette van
Mary?
Olfen. I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, like feeling anxious and feeling trustful at the switch it very fast. Yeah, like kind of have the same stuff going on too.
Mhm.
Like starting, it just like comes and goes, and I just all of a sudden I'm catching myself that I'm starting to become very anxious and like thinking about stuff that I will need to do later on. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to be all right? Or I need to do this or need to do that? And I'm like okay, just calm down. Like try to take a deep breath and like rethink stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I'm experiencing that as well. Especially during the night when I go to sleep and I wake up and I'm like oh my god, like this will happen and stuff like that. And it takes me 2 hours to go back to sleep, so it's not very pleasant. But yeah, I'm experiencing that too.
Yeah. Me too. I've actually been, and then some of the people that I do sessions with have recently been bringing this up too. So it sounds like it's kind of a across the board experience where a lot of people are feeling this way. Um, Along with this switching that you're talking about, I feel like it's just part of it. But for me anyway, it's also having like the oh goodness, what's the term that they use, where you don't trust that your experience is true anymore. Um, like you're like, am I just crazy? uh, what is the term? I can't remember it anymore.
Self doubt or doubting something, not sure.
Yeah, it's something complex. I'm sure
You're
someone's gonna write it
skeptical.
in.
I don't know.
What is that?
You're skeptical regarding your own experiences. I don't
Right.
know.
It's like all this, and I feel like that all of us are conditioned to have this because so much of our life has been people to saying you're crazy, gaslighting us, or maybe not even knowing they're gaslighting us, saying what you're experiencing isn't valid or true. And after a while you've learned to question yourself regularly. You're like, is this really happening? Like, are we really having this happen? Um, anyway, so
Yeah, like a really big part of the awakening journey, especially at the beginning when you have all these crazy experiences and you're like doubting everything that is happening to you. I think I was like, I wouldn't say like fighting it, but I was really like struggling with it for a few years to like actually learn to trust that there is a process and the process is happening and the process is super well thought out looking back because like when you're in the middle of it and you don't really understand much, it may seem like chaotic, weird, frightening, scary sometimes. But when you like look back a few months or even years, you can like see like, oh, like I can see like all of these were like super important steps on my journey to get me here where I'm here right now.
yeah,
Even though like usually like when we're in the middle of something big, it can be very scary because we don't really understand or see the other end of it. But yeah, like the key in it, I think like is like trusting, learning to trust the process basically. Like
right,
your light team has your back, your support team is with you along the way. And yeah, like don't be afraid to ask for assistance and guidance and protection because we have a lot of support and we have a far more support than we had like 10 years ago because like we are collectively we're far more high vibrational and we're closer to our light team vibrationally so they can come through and assist us much more effortlessly and easily.
yeah,
And also, I guess like many people notice that we have way more synchronicities happening, interesting, weird alignments, events coming together, things happening that you thought you will never see, going to see in your life.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, like we're becoming lighter and lighter, and like these things are happening much, much, much more quicker and effortlessly. Oh yeah, like the message that I got before, I think it was yesterday. I wanted to like make a video with it, but I'm going to spoil it here. It's like we've been like so used to like being in this dense environment and like everything being so hard, dense, difficult, slow moving, and just like being a very unpleasant place to be in general. That like all those weights and heaviness is being lifted gradually, and like we're starting to be on a completely new playing field, basically, where we can like we have the opportunity to truly like reimagine ourselves, like how do we want to function, what do we want to create, because like we are super super close to it and it's far more achievable than in the past, basically.
yeah,
So now is a great time to reevaluate yourself, like who do you want to be, like transform yourself, transform your life, and like put things into the shape that you always wanted to see them, because like now it's a really good time to start doing that. And I
right.
think like as we're moving forward on this timeline, it will become even more easier and more fluid as it is. But also at the same time, I was noticing that like it's great, like things are manifesting much more quickly and easily. But at the same time, I feel like we have to be far more disciplined on like what we put out and like what we create, because like things reverberate back very quickly.
Yeah,
So if you do something stupid or out of alignment, it's going to come back very quickly. Like that's what I noticed.
right. Yeah,
Like even like small stuff. Like I noticed this in the past few months or even year. Like if I'm doing something very sensitive, I know like something very minute. Like I know like I don't want to spill this. I know like a glass of water or something. Because I have to put it from point A to point B, and just by me thinking about I don't want to spill it. It's like, oh my god, like it
yeah.
just came out. Like I have to be very careful and thoughtful of where I put my thoughts and intentions. So I'm still working on that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I know it's very often. Like if I'm afraid that I'm going to make a mistake or I'm going to do something, then it like happens instantly. Like don't focus on that.
yeah,
Like focus on doing it right and correctly. Put your
right.
energy into that.
And we were told this is going to start to happen. We were told about it. There's a chakral energy when connected with between the sacral and the solar plexus. That's called that. I'm sure it's got a better name than the name that me and my guides call it. We come up with our own words. But that's the manifestation chakra. That's the place of creation. It's no mistake. That's where the womb is in the female form, and so as the manifestation chakra is activated, we are causing more quickly our world to bend to our will, in this way of manifestation than ever before, and along with it, at the same time, as you said, you would use different words, but what you were describing is something that's a profound experience I've been having lately, and I've mentioned it a few times in the show, but and many have related, is this life review. It's like a life review that we're having. We're seeing all of this stuff, and it's all coming up, and we're being asked to kind of look at these moments, that these cringe moments, these things that maybe we felt shameful or guilty or embarrassed or whatever, are coming up. And it's not to cause you any harm. It's from what I've gotten from my guides and stuff has been that it's for your betterment. It's to assist you so you can see perspectives in all directions, and then choose, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm experiencing the same shit too. So
Yeah. Um, Vegan Vixen said something. I just feel like we should highlight it. She says, "Yes, Mila, I've been feeling lost, depressed, and not wanting to be here. I'm crying at the drop of a hat and want to go home." And I feel like a lot of people are having this experience right now. You know, um, When someone's in this type of an experience, what would be the guidance or suggestions that you would give them?
Yeah, like reaching out maybe to other like-minded souls, like just being here and like being a part of this whole interaction is like super helpful. Like I've been at the same place too, like for many years, especially at the beginning of my journey. And when it really stopped, and I moved beyond that, is when I started to like actually open up about these things to other people and like not keeping it all to myself. Like that was a super helpful and life-changing decision. But yeah, like just in general, like what really helped me in the first few years is like finding people online, like
Yeah,
doing the same stuff that we're doing right now, just talking about their experiences or like in general about these stuff. They're like such a huge, yeah, like it's a type of validation, but like a confirmation of like, holy shit, like people have already went through this, like this is completely normal. And yeah, like it's just a natural part of the entire journey. And yeah, like it's not, you don't, at least I didn't feel as alone and desperate or in a very bad place. I just felt very isolated in general. But yeah, like I also had that sensation of I want to go home and I don't want to be here, but
yeah,
we are here to be here basically. So that's why we came here. Just have to make our new home here basically and find our place. But yeah, like I think we have an amazing opportunity these days.
yeah,
Like you can reach out to a lot of people, just simply connecting like this or talking. Like we live in an amazing period of time. Like 10, 20 years ago, like this would have been impossible. So
yeah,
yeah, like use it, like use the opportunities that are given,
yeah.
and it
That
will be super helpful.
yeah. The time of the timing of this. If you're new in the awakening, you're waking up the right time. There's these groups, there are these places, these people. I was just remarking to Guardian a couple of days ago, if it wasn't yesterday or something, I don't even remember anymore. Times all warped and all kind of crazy. But um, how many truth speakers there are out there? People in the awakening that are like content producers or at the very minimum, producing TikTok like videos for YouTube, with those shorts are just like, hey guys, look, take a minute and check this out, consider a different perspective. When before, many people were terrified or at least partially afraid of speaking out because let's be honest, most of the time, if we talked about these things and not very long ago, it was likely you'd be seeing the inside of an insane asylum for a lengthy duration.
Yeah, like also I had a very interesting experience in the family. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like we also have young members in the family who are getting married and all that. I think so. Basically, the younger brother of my wife would be my brother-in-law, or how do you call that in English?
Brother-in-law.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So we didn't have a very deep relationship, but we were okay and friendish. I mean, we were basically family.
Hmm.
And I never talked about these stuff with them or anyone else. But we had this opportunity, like we went out to check out like terrain out in the fields, and it was just two of us. And I know these weird stuff started to gradually come up, and I was like F it, like I'm going to like say a lot of weird stuff to this guy about my experience. I didn't tell anything about ETs, just like other lives and just my soft stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like very strange because I always had this vibe about him that he kind of knows about these things, but he like never really wants to like go there. So I pretty sensed that about him from the very first time I saw him, that he's like very much in tune with otherworldly stuff, but he's like not going there or keeping his distance from it. And after 10 years, I brought up the topic. And yeah, I got a really good conversation. After that, he also opened up about such certain stuff. So I was,
Awesome.
oh, like, okay. And we're like, 10 years like going around the subject and like not addressing it at all. So yeah,
Well,
like it was really cool.
that's awesome. That's so
Yeah,
much fun when you can talk about it with people that you don't think you can. And
yeah. I haven't told anything about the ETs, like that's for another time. But yeah,
right,
I'm not
we'll
sure how he's going to react to that.
save that for next time.
Yeah, like by the way, like yeah, like you have spirit guides too, and mine's are ETs. So
Right. Yeah.
I mean, not all of them are ETs, but I have ET guides as well. So
I like that just then Vegan Vixen had commented this.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that you actually made a really good point here is that as we begin to start talking about these things to people who we haven't discussed it with before, you know, um, it's it's tactful to start slow, to start with like things that are a little bit less, you know, a little bit more acceptable or accepted, widely accepted, and then to kind of move into it. If this ends up being a conversation you're having with the person, you know, for the purpose only to keep their own comfort in mind. Um, and think about what it was like when you first started coming out, basically, and talking. That there are people that you were very hyper aware of that you're like, I'm not going to tell this story to this person for sure, like. And so if you want to continue this back and forth conversation flow with this individual, just take it very slow, you know like Guardian, that was really a good point. I think I'll tell him about the ETs down the road. Like we'll wait.
the other interesting thing is that after a few, I know, like half an hour, we started to ask that, okay, but what kind of abilities do you have? I didn't talk about being able to like medium ship or channeling or light language stuff like that, or banishing dark beings or any type of magical stuff that we are able, or manipulating the weather. That's for another time, basically. But
Right.
yeah, I just talked about healing and I know, like having many different types of senses and like projecting my consciousness to different places and times. Yeah, like that's a good starter. You don't have to know everything all at once.
Right. Right. And then all the same time, it's overwhelming to the senses. And so then that the knee jerk reaction is to just label it, give a label of some kind of diagnosis, you know,
And
and
also, you don't really know like what their background knowledge is on certain topics. Maybe I know, like they have a very negative experience or info regarding a specific, I know, like ability or subject, and you don't know that. So
right. Right.
first
Exactly.
learn about it.
And that actually has led into a question that somebody had. I have a question about something you said probably a year or two ago now. When people pass on, you mentioned that they no longer leave, but stay here. Is that something you have more information on? This was something that I've mentioned to people in conversation as well as in lives and stuff. Yeah, I actually have this experience. I've noticed it was actually a whole year ago, almost exactly, when those who pass, typically they would go someplace else, like they would like go somewhere, and this has changed. It's shifted. Where they're going is here, and so at first, when I first started to notice it, it felt overpopulated here. You know, but what I can add to that is that I don't think that they change their location where they go to. It's simply that we have. Like we're in a
That's
new
possible.
place.
Yeah, like the way how Earth is functioning is shifting. So I guess like all those places where they've been going to so far is changing too.
Hmm.
Like I haven't explored this subject for a few years, but I also noticed from my own experiences with my grandma that after she passed on, and I also noticed it with other people too, that they continue to live their Earth life in like a simulated reality type of pocket dimension that like resembles their normal day-to-day life, and like
Yeah.
assisting them in like gradually moving on, because like not everyone is ready to just like drop the body and like get out of here. Like
Right.
not everyone is ready to do that. And like depending on like your belief systems, like what you went through in that lifetime, how advanced you are spiritually or in this understanding, then it will vary for everyone basically. Like some people are like very good at this whole process and like consciously can go through it very quickly, but there are a lot of people who like need that lengthy transition in certain cases to like, yeah, like to I don't know, like to adapt to another way of existing basically, because many people don't are not comfortable letting go of their earth life or their
Right.
bodies basically. And I heard like a very interesting and good point that for example in Eastern cultures, like they burn the dead bodies for a very good reason, because it's there can be a tendency that person who have passed on may be more attached to it, and it's like if there is no longer a physical body, then they can move on much more easily because they don't have anything to go back to anymore, basically. So
Right.
yeah, but as the Earth is changing, I'm not sure how this will look. I guess like all this, I know like this recreation of their earthly lives, pocket dimensions will be also shifting or like going to another place. I'm not sure. I've also seen that like there are people who have like I helped a lot of people this way, like in the past, who are like stuck through some kind of I don't know, like some kind of traumatic events, like this could have been something very huge, or just something very isolated, and like people were stuck in those places because the way they passed on, basically, and yeah, like they were reliving those traumas over and over again. Some cases becoming very distorted and yeah, like distorted, and some of them like go out automatically out of Earth. Like I've seen many cases that there are light beings outside of Earth. Some cases also light ships that are receiving these souls, and they're like receiving some kind of healing or recalibration that like helps them move on. But yeah, like it varies a lot. It depends on what the person or that group of people were going through, basically.
Right.
But yeah, like trauma can like really cause some detrimental stuff to the souls and like being stuck for quite some time. But we're here to clean that out, so
Exactly. Exactly. And there's a place that I call the gray room that some religions will refer to as limbo, but it's not really limbo because it's not you're not stuck anywhere. You're stuck as long as you take to do your own therapy, basically, you know. Um, and so a lot of times what we feel, in my opinion, and how I experience it, what we feel is like a residual frequency of that person. It's not them. It's like their clothes instead of their body, and so it's not all it's them. It's just the more of who they are has more to do. And so they go off and do stuff elsewhere. It's just the energy that connects to us. It's kind of it's how we talk about fractals. It's a fractal, basically, is who we are engaging with when this person that's passed. It's pretty cool though. I find it to be really fascinating. Um, and what's more is that as we connect with these individuals who have passed, the more that we kind of allow ourselves to kind of balance the frequency of where we are, because we just did something, guys. Like, y'all know that. We know that, right, Guardian? We just crossed over some type of precipice, and we're in this new earth place. Like, we're here. And now it's just the tidying up. It reminds me kind of like if you have like a big function, like there's thousands and thousands of people in some type of large place. After they leave, there's like all of the stuff. Like you don't realize how many snacks people have snuck in until it's time to clean up. You know?
yeah. Yeah, I
Except we're
also see that as we're moving forward on this timeline, like many souls are leaving Earth
yeah,
because like they finished what they came here to do. And I also seen that like the reason that Earth is so populated at this time, that there are a lot of souls who have been stuck here on Earth, and like they need to like figure shit out and
yeah,
resolve all loose ends before they leave. And so, great way to do that is like being born. And the other side are a lot of, there's an influx of new souls coming into Earth as well. Like that's where there's so many of us here.
yeah,
But theoretically, as we move forward, I don't know, like coming decades or hundreds of years, like our population will decrease because there will be no need for us to be, I mean, so many of us to be here because like we finished what we came here to do. So it's time
yeah,
to move on and do something else. And I also think that like Earth, I mean, not the purpose, but the purpose of why souls came here on Earth is also changing. Like so far, souls came here to experience density and like feeling separate from God and everyone else, to experience isolation, to experience limitation. And now that we're moving out of that frequency range, the whole playing field is changing. So also the souls who are here will move out because this is no longer representative of what they want to experience in certain cases.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And you couldn't have said that at a better time. Just as I pulled up this comment from Vegan Vixen too, is that the depth of the way that we are feeling about the way that the world around us has behaved, has changed in such a way that um, all of the things that we used to take, just accept, are no longer acceptable. And so those, if things are balancing themselves out, unfortunately, a lot of the times we first need to see something before it can be moved out. Before we can transmute, we need to be aware of it. And so um, some of these things are going to are getting right now louder than they were before. They're because they're becoming more noticeable. And so um, I really appreciate that comment. Thank you, Guardian, for going into that the way that you did. Uh, do we want to go through some of these questions in the comments? Because there's been a
Yeah,
couple.
sure.
So we have a Crystal wants to know what's up with the teeth and the gums. It's really uncomfortable. Are you noticing this, Guardian? Because I
Yeah,
totally am.
my teeth are like coming close together, like squeezing, then coming loose again. So I'm not sure what's happening, but yeah, like since I'm how do you call that screen string thing, like floss or teeth
The
floss or
floss.
well, yeah, floss. Since I do that, it's very evident because in some places it goes in very easily, and sometimes I can't really push it in if I really try. But it's the same place, and it's only like a few days difference, so I'm not sure what else is happening. But yeah,
Yeah,
in the past few weeks, I really sensed, especially in this part, I'm not sure what was happening. Like my teeth were like pressing together very hard, and it was like creating this tension. Yeah, it was very unpleasant. But now it's gone, so I'm not sure what's happening. And I can sense that there's a space again between these teeth. So I'm not sure where the hell they're moving so much.
right. And I've been having my own series of like oral dental kind of stuff. Like there's something going on with my mouth, and um, when I leaned into it and asked about that, they told me that I'm one of all. Like so, like that means that everybody's having something going on with their mouth right now. And with their teeth, the gut specifically. Here's the one that I notice the most is I'll get a headache in my gums, and no, I don't feel like I have an infection or something. It's got to do with like, and then I'll find out that when we're having a geomagnetic storm, which we've been in a geomagnetic storm for almost a full week, it just barely subsided most of the way, but um, I'll have a headache in my gums when that happens. And uh, so that just accelerates because it's been so sustained, this energy constantly coming in, that I've been noticing increased pain there. I even started doing the oil pulling where you
Oh yeah,
use
found it really
that.
helps. Yeah, I do it with coconut. So.
Me too. Coconut oil. And I don't do as much as that a lot of the, if you look it up, they'll tell you to use more. I find for me that
Yeah.
initiates my vomit reaction, you know. So
Yeah, I
um
also heard that some people spit it out. Like I only get like a little teaspoon and it like dissolves anyway, so it gets in everywhere. And then I swallow it gradually. So why waste that precious coconut oil?
I did look into that, and it pulls out so much from your deep into in your gums that it's some of it's pretty nasty stuff. And so I will spit it out personally, just
Okay,
because,
just
like,
there's like another warning. Like when it's warm, it's very liquefied, but it like goes down in the drains, and it's cold there, it's going to solidify. So
right.
after a
Always in the
time,
garbage.
it's going to like layers of layers, and the drain will become smaller and smaller because
Like,
it's going to be full of coconut oil. So be careful of that.
I always make sure I spit it in the garbage can. I don't ever do it down the drain, because you're right. It's that could really mess up your plumbing. Um, the other thing that I've been doing is I've been making I'll make, basically it's tea, I guess. Well, I'll heat up some water, and then I'll toss in 2 or 3 whole cloves. I started doing that for the parasitical or anti-parasite kind of stuff that I've been doing. But I found that, well, and then I'll just drink it after it's almost room temperature, so it's has time to steep. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm just drinking clove water, and I found that this really helps the mouth, unpleasant mouth stuff that we got going on.
Yeah, I'm also
So
started to drink quite a lot of walnut tea, like
awesome.
the leaf, making tea from the leaves. Like it's really good against all types of parasites, internal and external as well. So if you have something on your skin or underneath your hair, they hate it. So
Yeah.
I know there's some kind of enzyme in walnut that parasites detest. So if you have those issues, it's a great place to start.
Right. Yeah. I
Or
would do
only
it.
a bit, but yeah.
I'm sorry I cut you off. What'd you say?
They're only going to color your teeth a bit because it has some kind of tan, or how do you call that, inside of it. Like they use the oils from the leaves to paint wood. So be mindful of that. So clean your teeth afterwards.
Stain. It could stain.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
be careful.
Yeah. I mean, I've had that couple with a couple different things. Like turmeric is a really good one for removing parasites and stuff. But it's also a really good dye. So keep that in mind. um, a lot of people are talking about, a lot of people are having this stuff with the teeth. So I'm just grabbing them, so I'm finding them. Um, uh, uh, Pigment, maybe someone's that's letting you know that that was probably the word that you were looking for.
Hmm.
Clove oil is another one for gum issues. Um, what's really to take away from this is that a lot of us are. I even just talked to someone on just recently who, um, all of a sudden their whole tooth came out, even the root, without the doctor doing it for them. I've actually never heard of that happening before. Um, but here's what I understood from that, and that's why I'm bringing this up, is that because it was such a surprising thing to hear about. I leaned into it with my guides a little bit more after the fact, and they went into a little bit more detail. But the base of it is, we've been storing so much in our teeth. We already do, but many of us are choosing to assign specific teeth to be the storehouse of toxins. And when that storehouse is full, then it leaves. Yeah. And so, this isn't always to do with what you've done wrong in your life. So self judgment is not going to do you any good here. Just sometimes it's due to, um, when you were in your mother's womb, when your egg was fully intact and became who you are as a person now, when your mother was in her mother's womb. And think about all the different generations of toxins that became that egg that you were, and so not always is it you to have to be blamed about it. That's not even the point where it came from. It's what are you going to do about it now? And so to solve this tooth issue that a lot of people are having happen, it's about parasites or something like parasites. We can call it toxins. That's probably a little more broader stroke to explain all of these different things, and so um, I'm only just starting to get my head around some of these things that you can do. Like I'm starting to learn some of these new things, and for me, they're new of what kinds of things that. So I guess what I'm getting at is there any suggestions that you have, Guardian, that the people can do to help their whole body health in a way that maybe I haven't really thought of, because this is kind of like
Uh, I don't like. There are a lot of things you can do physically as well, like doing all these detoxes, or maybe re-evaluating the foods your body needs can be super helpful. It's also I mean, we're not there yet, but springtime is very close, so do some research on like what kind of beneficial plants or veggies you can eat in the springtime, because there are a lot of fresh greens during the springtime, because that's a great time to like detox from the winter. That's why Mother Earth gives us so many fresh green stuff,
right,
because you should eat some of it. So, for example, I think dandelion is really good. I tried it last year. I dug up quite a few roots for like 2 weeks in our garden. Wow, it's like super sour.
yeah,
But it's like really, I think it cleans mostly the liver. So it's like an incredibly potent detoxifying. And it's also, I think it's super rich in all types of essential minerals too. So giving you a boost in general is super good. And you can eat the leaves of it too. I mean, you can make a salad if you want to. But yeah, like all parts of the plant is super useful during springtime. Take a look at like detoxing yourself, and also finding maybe some new foods that are like very nutrient dense and can nourish you in new ways, especially if you've been like used to eating the same stuff for over and over again.
yeah,
Could be very helpful. And yeah, like just in general, like we always talk about these transmutational meditations too. So energetically, like supercharging your body to cleanse itself and to regenerate itself. But in order to properly regenerate, like it needs the necessary elements or building blocks to be present in your body. So if you're nutrient deficient and you're not eating well, then your body doesn't really have the building blocks to reconstruct itself.
right,
So take a look at your food. Like, what are you putting in? What can you like throw away? And like, what are the new things that are, yeah, like seem very beneficial and new to you? For example, I started to eat meat half a year ago. So after 12 or 13 years being a vegetarian, and it worked out great. Like, I have more energy than ever.
right.
Yeah. It was very unexpected, but yeah, it turned out great.
I get it. I get it. I did the same thing. I've been eating meat probably a year and a half or so now. I don't know. I, I'm not very good at telling time anymore. We're having so much time slippage and disorientation regarding time. I don't really have a measuring stick, but I had the same thing. I went a long time. Or if I had excluded butter from our daily intake, I would have been considered a vegan. I just kept eating butter though. Like butter to me, and late now scientific studies are coming out to say the same things I already kind of felt about it. But um, dandelions for me are one of my go-tos. Like I'm really glad you brought up dandelions. You know, greens and all, and in any regard, though, dandelions in particular, um, dandelion root. It depends on when you harvest it too, guardian. Just so you know, like so.
The sun is shining, or
What?
when the sun is shining, usually the plants or the leaves have much more nutrients in them when the sun is hitting them.
Right. Yeah.
But the
I'm
roots,
usually I'll try to do it where it's like it's the it's morning, like before noon is kind of
mhm,
the standard. The earlier the better, but you do want the sun to be up. The other part of it is that you because they actually excrete these flowers because they close and open based on the night and daytime. Um, and it's just better when they're fully bloomed. The other part too is you want to harvest them before they've gone from yellow and into seed. So you want
yeah.
them to be fully mature, and not when they're still closed. If you want them open. There's a whole thing. I got my little trial and error about that because the same thing happened. I like to make my coffee out of dandelion root, and I
Oh,
ground it. Yeah, actually, it's really flavorful for me. I really enjoy it. Um, I um uh I don't know, it's like a medium roast coffee to me. It doesn't have like a bitter flavor to it after you've cooked it the way that I do. I grind it after I clean it off, let it dry, and then I'll grind it like I do coffee. It's really
no.
good.
Oh yeah, but don't you like kill some of the how do you call that? The essential elements, or I don't know how you call those, the certain oils or nutrients in it. I mean, it doesn't kill the minerals, but certain things get killed off by heat, as far as I know, especially vitamins.
I'm sure some things do. I don't find that to be true with making the dandelion tea or dandelion coffee,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm sure that here's something that I do though. I use a French press. I don't use filters, and the coffee filter will take away the oils. It'll absorb the oils and not let you take it. So like, keeping that in mind. I mean, um, or you could just chew on it. You know what I mean? Like it's if
How
you're
I do. I chew it
yeah,
quick and like down it goes.
right. It does take away some of the intensity if you steep it over water. You know, so um, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do. One of them, you know, we should probably get wrapped up. You're about ready to get going to bed, aren't you? It's late there.
Yeah. I've been up
Um,
since 6 a.m. Yeah.
I would. You want to grab one more question and then get going?
Yeah, like we can totally answer another one. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Um,
maybe, I don't know. Let's see.
so we have J- Jen. I don't know how to say your last name. I'm sorry. I feel like that I would just slaughter it. She says, "Thanks, Mila. It does feel like that. Yeah. What do you guys think about mental issues versus ascension symptoms? There's some things I can't talk with my psychiatrist about because she wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
What
like
do you
should I
think?"
address that? Yeah, I don't really know the difference between the two sometimes. Like I also, there are these periods when I question like myself, like what is happening to me. I also noticed that someone mentioned in the chat that they experiencing disorientation and like feeling very dizzy. Like sometimes it comes and goes, and I don't know like is it some kind of ascension symptom, or I'm too tired, or I did something wrong, or I don't know, or there's something wrong with me. that's why I'm experiencing it. But yeah, like it's sometimes very difficult to like, I know, like separate the two, like mental issues from ascension symptoms, especially. But there are these periods coming and going, and they're like amplifying things that we're already going through or struggling with.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very difficult to tell. So, but what's your perspective on it?
Well, there's a couple of points, but the main one that I've always gone to is that if I'm questioning my sanity, that means I'm sane.
Yeah,
Because the
good point.
people who are not, what's that?
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
Right. The people who are not sane typically don't question themselves. They don't. Like another one that fits into that category is narcissists are the only ones who never thought about them being a narcissist. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it works. And um, there does seem to be a narrative that we've been fed as a whole population, not just a specific culture or region of the planet, but across the globe or the whole world, is um, this belief in this mental disability or mental instability regarding people who speak about these uncommon topics, you know. And in particular those who are seeing and feeling things that others can't. We've been taught that if you can't follow the
that's
scientific method.
normal.
What was
Yeah,
that?
like that's abnormal. That's weird. So
Right.
yeah, like probably many of your mental issues are due to your expanding and experiencing and sensing things that you haven't been experiencing so far. And if you don't know what is happening or what it is, it can be very alarming because it can be very, yeah, it can be very scary if you don't know what's happening to you. You're seeing all these weird shit, or just you're experiencing and sensing all types of presences or energies moving around you. Even if you see stuff, but that's even more scarier. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you're just expanding and experiencing more of what has already been around you in the first place. So,
Right. And when we lean into something, it gets louder. And louder doesn't always mean an auditory thing. It's like when you focus on something, you can see it better, And so when we're allowing ourselves to focus on something, then we start noticing it more. Like the phenomenon of when you go get a new to you car, whether it's a brand new car or not, all of a sudden, like you'll have not seen that car anywhere before, and now all of a sudden that car's everywhere, or the color of the car. It's changing your focus. So once we allow ourselves to just embrace it, know you're okay. And a lot of us are experiencing these things. A lot of us are experiencing these things, and there is no uh, alarm being set off inside that we're safe and we're good. Could connect, like Guardian already has highlighted a few different times today. Connecting with your guides is a really useful tool. Starting that kind of conversation. So as you're connected with your guides, then they'll be an internal guide for you. I think that's the symbol of Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio movie. Is he's the guide?
I
He's
don't
like,
know, familiar.
yeah. So, and you know, um, YouTube is really useful because you can look up any topic and you're going to find a video of somebody talking about it. you know and so if you have any questions, that's where I go. I don't suggest people go to Google because it's very censored still. If you go onto YouTube specifically and just type it in the YouTube channel, that's when you'll find these results coming up, and you'll be able to have answers to all types of questions. And then lastly, remembering to connect with communities like ours. For oh, by the way, we this is one of the weeks where we're meeting on Friday instead of Wednesday, so it's not today, it's in a couple of days. On the uh it'll be the 21st for us and the 22nd for the Southern Hemisphere, so that'll be on the 22 portal 222 portal. And last thing too is that we're also going to have a group meditation on the 222 portal the day after our Zoom meeting. So just for anybody who's wondering about that, you can look for those links for the later on. Um, and whatever, like Guardian goes live, going talking about things here. This is another. Those are all different community groups. Telegram, if you're if you're interested, the link to our Telegram group is in the description of this video, and it's free. We don't charge for it like some people do. It's just about 500 people all over the world that are hanging out with each other, talking and sharing, comparing notes, and it's really a cool group. It's really awesome to see how many people share on there. So would you, I went on a little bit of a tangent there. Do you want to share anything else before I let you go?
Not necessarily. Like what came into my mind is at the beginning of my awakening journey, like my empathic abilities went overboard. Like I was absorbing all types of energies, like the moods and like issues and sickness of other people, and I absorbed it into my body. And it was very scary because I had zero clue what is happening to me up until the very moment that I found this video on YouTube. I think it was Melina Brown. She did like a video about like what is an empath. I was like, isn't that like a thing from Star Trek? The empath. And I'm like, okay, let's watch this. And she was explaining all the things that I was going through and explaining how you can manage your abilities. And like this is basically just like a stepping stone to other types of more higher and more advanced stuff that you can do later on. And I was like, like, oh my God, like I can't believe this. So and yeah, like it was super helpful. And maybe for her it was like not a big thing to do this video, but for me it was like a game changer to see that specific information at that time in my journey. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, like just search for stuff and yeah, like make a clear intention of what type of assistance or what do you want information about, and just I don't know, like let it go and just be confident that you will attract the specific I don't know, like pocket of information. Maybe it's text, maybe some it's a podcast or a video, someone explaining something to you, and just trust the process that you will receive that specific information that you will need.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that it's a very guided message. Whatever is meant to come to you will come to you. You know, like it might sound hokey to say that out loud, but then in actual act, it's how it works. You could have the same device, the same, you know, person signed in, yet the one that's meant or to come up for that person will be different for a different person, you know. So it'll come up the way it's meant to. Just trust the process, you know, and allow yourself to be guided, remembering that you already know on some level the answers to all these questions, and to trust yourself is really what this has been all about. This is to teach you to trust yourself. So Guardian, you're such a awesome conversationalist. We could really talk for hours.
Yeah, like we had another question. Can I think it's from J Bird 444. Can I ask you both what beings have been connecting with you at this time and the messages that come through, basically? So I don't know anyone specific at this time. I'm just letting things come through. But in general, like when I do like a channeling or when I connect with my guides, I do it with my Syrian higher self. So in part, the higher aspect of me is like connected to the star of Sirius, and I connect deeply with that, and I always receive amazing, crisp and clear information from that source. But yeah, in general, it like can come from many different sources too. Like all of us are connected to many different types of higher selves. I know, like ascended masters or angels or light beings. Like everyone has their own light team that they're working with and drawing information from. But yeah.
Yeah.
So who are you connecting with?
Um, I actually saw this question and I didn't click it because I knew that it was a long answer and I didn't think you
We
had.
talked like 20 minutes about this.
Yeah, we could. I could talk about this for a whole hour. um, well, a variety of different energies have come through, and different galactic groups, as well as angelic and inner Earth and interdimensional. Lately, especially, it's been really crowded. It's been very loud and busy, and everything that I've been told has come true so far. In the right timing, and so. Uh, I'm kind of waiting on an earthquake. I was told was to happen before all these series of earthquakes have occurred. What was the most fascinating out of all these experiences that I've had is somehow uh, something occurred where I was able to see. Um, I was able to have a session with somebody from old Earth. Is the best way to describe it. And I got to see the difference between that world and the world we're in. This person was, in America, but they were in a war-torn country and devastation and all this stuff. And I didn't realize that could occur, that they could even call me, you know what I mean, to have a session with. Um, when this occurred, that this has been actually the most profound experience that I've had lately. Is because that's initiated a series of interactions and conversations with um, these interdimensional beings. I don't. They remind me kind of Safarians because they have like these really cool dreads and they have like this. I don't know who they are, where they come from, galactically speaking, but they say that they're interdimensionals and they're healers. What they've been showing me is between now and the beginning of 2027 is the Grand Purge and the most intense stuff that's going to happen for our species is occurring during this window of time. These series of activations that are happening are going to happen to everybody. However, if we're not taking care of our own bodies, considering what we're putting in our bodies, not only what are we consuming food and drink wise, but also media wise, we consume by what we watch, and listen to. Um, you'll have a better, easier time if you're putting clean things in your body, over this next little while, because we will have an accelerated ascension experience in the next 2 years. So I'm looking for. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's not scary. It's like it's just it's better to practice something before you jump on stage, right? And so they're showing
Yeah.
you.
Well, I think all of us are already on the stage. So, like, this whole ascension thing has been kicking in full gear for the past 5 years. So, yeah. But now we're starting to see the rewards of all our hard efforts and all the work that we've put in during those darker times, basically. So it's great to see it. But yeah,
Right.
like, I think like a lot of old stuff will come up that will need to be cleared out. And like I think like people who have been like on this awakening journey for quite some time, like I think we will also have quite a few surprises.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Oh
when
yeah.
shit comes out.
That that's the one I'm looking the most forward to, really. And we all know all this stuff starts in the portal energy. When's the portal again? On the 22nd? And then we have the portal of the 3-3. I think I cut you off, didn't I, Guardian? Please go on.
No, no, no. I'm just checking the chat, so please continue.
Yeah, we have the time of revelation is the time that we're in. Which I also saw that this comment, and this is the when you use numerology, I love that this is true. This year that we're in is the year of completion. 2 + 0 + 2 + 5. And then if you have a double number, then you add them together. Um, anyway, which this isn't. uh, you can find that there's a lot of cycles closing and ending right now. We have a profound alignment occurring on the 25th. This particular alignment's all the planets lining up, the grand conjunction, like we mentioned already. I think I'm not sure if we mentioned it before we went live or while we were live. And that's happening on that's on Tuesday. By the way, that day I'm having a show at Elsa for those of you who are interested. And um, during that window of time, a lot of things are going to start to be able to come forward. This particular planetary alignment has been prophesized for some time. You can actually find it in even Disney cartoons from an earlier time. From 1997, the Hercules talks about this particular one.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
they
remember that when they released the Titans from the depths of the earth or something.
right. And we've been kind of we've been told only half of the story, haven't we? Like there's stuff about this that we, for instance, uh, we've been taught to be afraid of what they call Hades, which is Pluto. Pluto and Hades is the same thing. They call it the guardian of the underworld. Um, and the way that I understand it, they're basically the gatekeepers for inner earth. It's not like fire and brimstone like we've been taught. It's not as scary as it. It's good. It's a really awesome thing that we're here.
Yeah,
So
like most of the stuff that we have, like in a spiritual perspective, especially in the Western world, is like very fear-based. So we have a lot of stuff to work through on that that
yeah,
aspect as well.
right. And um, on a I don't follow the news very much, but I do a little bit. And Guardian and I kind of share back and forth some of the stuff that we found. And one of those things that came out is they're declassifying a lot of stuff starting sometime in March. And so they listed things like JFK assassination and 9/11. I don't remember all that they had listed off the top of my head, to be
It
honest.
involves also the lockdowns, UAPs, which is basically UFOs. And like the lady said, like it is clear that we're not alone, and we're also going to address that issue as well, or something like that. So,
Right. And also the water ones. I don't remember
yeah,
UAP or something.
yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, like apparently we have them underwater too. But I think like they can go above and below water anyways. But
Right.
I'm not an expert on flying objects, so I
Right.
don't really care to be honest about UFOs. I'm much more interested like who is coming with the UFO and why, rather than how the damn ship is flying. So
Right. And I find that most of the ships that they people talk about are actually just the Merkaba of the individual rather than an actual vessel. Most of them that I see anyway. So um, I can say that it's definitely an exciting time. And so the guidance that I'm being given to share with anyone else listening, hey, it's 222 right now, is allow yourself to question all things. You know, just because we've spent our whole lives uh, committing to a specific belief system doesn't mean that we need to continue to persist it. You know what I mean? And um, it maybe was something that wasn't true, but that doesn't mean that we need to put any more energy resources into it. And so, like to the point where I question whether or not there's such a thing as gravity, a very basic thing that people take for as truth. I'm being guided to just release all belief and all of like my stern, held fast beliefs and things that I've been taught. Because who's to say anything that we've been taught is correct? and this isn't like a bad guy, good guy kind of thing. It's learn to trust yourself, release all of what we've the found, because just like Yoda says, you must first unlearn in order to learn. And I think that when we release all of what we think is true, it'll make this next month and from that point on a lot easier for us.
Yeah, I
That's
also received regarding this a few messages, I think the past few years from my guys that like make the unknown your friend because it doesn't have to be a scary thing. Like the unknown can hold many beautiful and interesting opportunities for growth and evolution. So
yeah, that's right.
try to enjoy the process.
Oh, one more thing that really helped during this window of time we've been talking about, that a lot of people are going through right now, was the hermetic texts. What's the word for it? Am I calling it the book the right thing? What's it called, Guardian? The
Which
hermetic,
one? Balian or
the Kabbalion. Thank
oh yeah,
you,
I'm
thank
right
you.
in the chat right now.
This really helps. Like, it gives. It's like no fluff. There's no. I'll rush you to grab it. Thank you. There's no fluff. There's no like, beating around the bush. They're just like, here are the points, and then you need to fill in for your own experience. Um, and it makes it easy because it's very cut and dry answers.
Yeah, it's like a little user manual to how the universe works, or I don't know how to put it.
And it's very thin. This book. It's like
It's
about
like a
that.
small textbook or something, so
Yeah.
you can put
Right.
it in your pocket.
Yeah, you can stick it in your back pocket and go about your day and pull it out. Um, and just open your mind to these different principles, and the more that we add to things, the harder they become. So all we got to do is just pull away from that hard stuff, and everything becomes easy. That sounded silly.
Much,
Anyway,
yeah.
what was that, Guardian?
Oh, nothing, nothing. Okay, so we should wrap up soon because I have to go to bed. So
You have to go to bed. That's what
and
I
I have
keep
to
doing. I keep thinking we need to go to you.
yeah,
Sorry, what?
and I also have to put something on the fire because we're going to have a very cold night. So
Right.
I don't want my family to be cold during the night. So
Yeah, we have the same thing here. We're way colder than we ever are usually. It says that we're tying with the record low for this time of year. So, Guardian, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I always look so forward to spending time
yeah,
with you and having
too.
conversations.
Having some very exciting conversations with people who are into weird stuff like I am. So
That's awesome. Well, I am sending you all so much love. Remember, again, we're not doing our Zoom meeting today, but we do have a free Zoom meeting where everybody gathers and talks on Friday. And you'll see the link for that and pop up in the community section of my YouTube channel, as well as the Telegram group. If you do have like the desire to reach out and connect to people before then, we have the free Telegram group that's in the link of the description of this video. Um, Also, remembering too that on the 22nd, so the 222 portal, I'm hosting through Channel. I'm going to be channeling, so a group meditation for that portal time, and to assist anyone. So anyone's interested in that, you'll also see the links for those popping up too. So thank you so much, Guardian,
no,
for
thank
everything.
you. Here, yeah, it was awesome. And yeah, like we should definitely do it next month as well. So looking
Awesome.
forward
Let's
to that too. Just
Okay.
let me know.
I will. I'm sure we're gonna. I'm glad that we get to meet so frequently and so consistently. So yeah, we'll have Guardian back on again in about a month, somewhere in there. Cool. All right. I'm sending you all so much love.
See you. Bye.